If you didn't grow up in the United Kingdom in the 1990s or early 2000s, it's almost impossible to explain the stranglehold Pizza Hut had on British culture. To an outsider, it's just a pizza chain. But to a generation of British kids, this place was the default setting for birthday parties, first dates, and end-of-term celebrations. But if you pass a Pizza Hut on many British high streets today, there's a high chance it's crumbling. The signs are peeling, the red roofs are fading. And just last month, the news broke that Pizza Hut in the UK was closing dozens of restaurants in a single, brutal sweep. Thousands of jobs have vanished. Entire towns have lost a core casual dining spot, and for the first time in its history, Pizza Hut looks like it could end up joining Little Chef and Wimpy in the graveyard of UK food chains. And yet, the most surprising part of this story is the sheer apathy. When the news hit, the British public barely noticed. So, how does a brand that was once synonymous with celebration turn into a ghost town? How does a company backed by one of the biggest food conglomerates on the planet fail to sell pizza to people who love pizza? Today, we're stepping inside the disaster zone to figure out how Pizza Hut UK went from a cultural icon to a corporate catastrophe. In October 2025, the operator responsible for Pizza Hut's UK dine-in restaurants, a franchisee known as DC London Pie, officially entered administration. The fallout was immediate. A rescue deal was struck, but the cost was heavy. 64 restaurants were saved, but a further 68 were permanently shuttered. To understand why this is happening, you have to understand the specific economic hellscape that is the British restaurant industry right now. They call it the casual dining crunch, and it's wiping out legacy brands left and right. Pizza Hut occupies a dangerous middle ground in the UK market. It's not cheap fast food like Greggs or McDonald's, but it's not a premium experience either. It sits in the mid-market, and in the current UK economy, the mid-market is a kill zone. There are three massive external forces crushing these businesses. First, energy costs. Commercial pizza ovens are incredibly inefficient. They're giant furnaces that need to stay above 260 degrees Celsius all day. When UK energy prices spiked, the overheads for running a Pizza Hut became astronomical. Second, the labor market. The UK government recently increased the national living wage and hiked national insurance contributions for employers. For a restaurant that relies on an army of waiters, chefs, and cleaners, it destroys the profit margin. And third, the consumer. The UK has been battling a severe cost of living crisis. Families, the core demographic for Pizza Hut, simply don't have the disposable income they're used to. When money's tight, you cut the luxuries. A £60 meal at Pizza Hut is an easy thing to cut, especially when you can get a supermarket pizza for £4. But external economics is only half the story. The way Pizza Hut is structured in the UK is a masterclass in how not to run a modern business. Here's the thing most people don't realize. Pizza Hut in the UK is actually two completely separate businesses fighting for the same customers. There's Pizza Hut Restaurants, which runs the dine-in sites, then there's Pizza Hut Delivery, which handles takeaway. They're owned by different entities, run by different management teams, and have different priorities. In fact, the delivery business now has about 5 times as many locations as the dine-in business, with about 340 of them still going. While brands like Domino's were building a unified ecosystem where the app, the driver, and the kitchen worked in perfect sync, Pizza Hut was at war with itself. The delivery side has actually performed okay, but the dine-in restaurants have become a dead weight. And because the restaurants are the physical face of the brand on the high street, when they look run down and empty, the entire brand image suffers. Domino's left Pizza Hut in the dust by evolving into a completely different kind of beast. Years ago, they famously pivoted to become a tech company that sells pizza. They poured resources into the app experience, GPS tracking, and customer loyalty, proving they understood that modern consumers prioritize convenience over almost anything else. Pizza Hut, meanwhile, lagged behind. Their digital presence was clunky, their app was unreliable, and crucially, they made a strategic error by leaning in on third-party delivery services like Just Eat, eroding their profit margin while giving away control of the customer experience. By the time Pizza Hut tried to modernize, the market had already shifted. Domino's had captured the Friday night takeaway crowd, and Nando's had captured the casual dining crowd. Pizza Hut was left with nobody. There's also a culinary issue at play. The UK is often mocked for its food, but in reality, the British dining scene has exploded in quality over the last 20 or so years. In the 90s, deep pan, greasy pizza was a novelty. Today, the UK is full of fast casual competitors offering high-quality food. Chains like Franco Manca, Pizza Pilgrims, and Zizzy brought wood-fired Neapolitan-style pizza to the masses. They offered fresh ingredients, sourdough bases, and a modern vibe, often for the same price or less than Pizza Hut. Suddenly, the Pizza Hut offering looked dated. The dough was too thick, the cheese was too rubbery, and the toppings felt industrial. It was the culinary equivalent of a flip phone in the age of the smartphone. Instead of fixing the product, Pizza Hut tried to change the vibes. They chased trends, launched bizarre marketing campaigns, and tried to make the restaurants look like cocktail bars. But they ignored the fundamental rule of hospitality. If the food just isn't that good, the decor doesn't matter. The British palate had matured, but Pizza Hut was still serving a menu designed for 1998. This brings us to the most interesting part of the Pizza Hut story, the weaponization of nostalgia. A lot of the commentary around this collapse is dripping with sentimentality. They talk about the ice cream factory with a reverence usually reserved for historical monuments. They talk about the book it reading challenges. They talk about the specific texture of the red plastic cups. But here's the brutal truth about business. Nostalgia is not a revenue stream. Pizza Hut fell into the trap of thinking that fond memories would translate into sales. They assumed that because people loved the brand as children, they would continue to visit as adults. But the reality is that adults don't want to eat in a place that feels like a children's party venue. Compare this to McDonald's. McDonald's had plenty of nostalgia, but they ruthlessly killed it. They modernized their interiors, introduced digital kiosks, upgraded their coffee, and changed their menu to appeal to adults. Pizza Hut held on to the past too tightly, like an adult who still sleeps in Toy Story bedsheets and got left behind. The way this collapse was handled also reveals a darker side of modern corporate restructuring. The closures were executed through a process called pre-pack administration. To explain this simply, it's a legal loophole that allows a business to line up a buyer for its best assets before it goes bust. In this case, a new entity bought the 60 profitable restaurants and left the 68 bad ones behind in the old company to rot. This saved the brand from total extinction, but it left landlords and suppliers holding the bag. Landlords who own the buildings of the closed sites are now stuck with empty units and unpaid rent. Suppliers got paid pennies on the pound. So, does this mark the absolute end of Pizza Hut on British soil? Not just yet. The 60 surviving restaurants will attempt to carry on. Meanwhile, the delivery arm, although in a better position, continues its uphill battle against Domino's. However, future sightings of a dine-in Pizza Hut will likely be limited to a few motorway service stations or cinema car parks far removed from their former prime spots in town centers. Crucially, shedding these 68 sites hasn't resolved the core identity crisis. The brand remains trapped in limbo, operating as an awkward hybrid of a sit-down restaurant and a fast food chain. With the casual dining sector continuing to contract, the remaining locations face a harsh reality. We are likely witnessing the final stages of a slow, managed decline. The collapse of Pizza Hut in the UK is a warning shot to every legacy brand in the world. It proves that you cannot coast on your history. It doesn't matter how iconic you are or how many birthday parties you hosted in 1999. If you stop moving, the market will eat you alive. The British High Street is a brutal Darwinian environment. It has no room for sentimentality. Pizza Hut became slow, expensive, and confused, and the ecosystem punished them for it. But I want to hear from you. Was your local Pizza Hut among the ones axed? And be honest, when was the last time you actually spent your own money there? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your take. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, give us a like, hit subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss the next one. Cheers for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.